Ahoy, Ian.
Ahoy.
Are you ready
Landlubbers.
to see what island-based delights Pillars of Eternity 2 Deadfire has to offer?
Continuing the 2018 Year of the Pirate.
Yep, Year of the Pirate.
As it turns out.
This will be the game that everybody wanted Sea of Thieves to be, but it wasn't.
I wouldn't say everyone.
I
A
mean,
select
yeah,
few
sure, that's fair.
would probably want it.
So this is, as said, Pillars of Eternity 2 Deadfire, the follow-up to Pillars of Eternity 1.
Funnily enough.
One of the revival CRPGs that came out in the the early 2000s, mid-2010s, I guess you would call it.
Mid-2010s, yeah.
That was very, very good. And this is also very, very good. This is a direct sequel to Pillars of Eternity 2, so it picks up basically exactly where Pillars of Eternity 1 left off.
Which is interesting because Pillars of Eternity 1, not that many pirates, right?
No, this is the difference where you're playing the same character but they're in a different part of the world. They're in the Deadfire Archipelago, which, if you know what an archipelago is, then collection of islands. And yeah, I'm just gonna... I will say that this is... I've played this for about 20-something hours, so there may be an amount of spoilers if you are gonna watch this video. Just be aware.
How far in is this save?
I'm not gonna do any stories. I'm not gonna do any story stuff, like mainline story stuff. I'm just gonna go about and do side things, but the side things also have stories in them, so if you don't want any of those spoils. This is about 20 hours in, this save. So yeah, we'll launch into this. Yeah. This game is really good.
This is a CRPG, right?
This is a CRPG where you basically get into a situation where you now just are the captain of a ship and around these Deadfire Archipelago islands, and there is a mainline story quest that involves hunting down a god that is complicated.
There's a lot happening in this picture.
Yeah,
I'm just trying to take it all in.
There are many things happening on this loading screen, but I'll try my best. There's also a lot in this game, period.
Sure.
But I will try and explain as much of it as I can.
Okay.
But so far it's been fucking great. This game's really you're combining CRPGs and pirating, which are two things that I really love.
Yeah, like this is like if somebody was to create something that had a headline. If somebody was building a game where the title of the game was Callum's Shit, it would consist of a CRPG with pirates.
CRPG
basically.
Pirates. If it somehow had professional wrestling in it as well, I'd be
exactly
tip top.
Exactly.
But yeah, there's a lot of things to do.
What is the race on the far left on the ship with the two guns?
That would be an Orlan. They are like a mixture of like halflings and weird animal creatures. That particular Orlan is Seraphin. I think that's his name, Seraphin. Yeah, he's actually part of my like go-to party, so you'll get to see him.
This is a long loading screen.
I know. Yeah, there's a lot of worlds to load, and my computer's not like the fastest in the world. No, it can run the game perfectly fine. It just takes like a while to load in because there's a whole world to load.
That's fair enough.
Of several islands, and yeah, you'll see this when I pull up the world map. Okay, this should be loading in.
It's a very open world.
It loads and then loads again, and I don't understand why. But
yeah, like a second hidden loading screen.
I don't know what it is loading, but
it's got to load all the booty, right? That's what it's doing.
There is a lot of that. Yeah, there's a lot of that.
How like in terms of like. I've never really thought about this, but in terms of like, there are multiple types of like fantasy lore where you've got your Tolkien-esque and then you've got like your Witchers and all this kind of stuff. How traditionally pirate is this? Like, is there booty and grog and that kind of?
Cool. They hit all the major pirate themes of like scuttling ships and going for treasure and all that stuff. They entrap it in this kind of like original fantasy setting of the Pillars world. Like they've talked about the Deadfire Archipelago as a place in the first game, about how it was like there are native people there called the Hoana, and there are many people trying to like take over the islands and stuff. But now they're actually showing it to you. So this is the world map. As you can see, you're not a person. You're the ship here. I'm just trying to show. I'll just show off. So this is the map of the Deadfire Archipelago. As you can see, I've not been everywhere yet.
Okay.
But there are several like key ports all over the place. There's like Nekataka, which is like the main city. There's Dunwich and Port Maggi and all these places. And you could just sail around here. Like all these little diamonds on the map are all different ships, and you can just go plunder those ships. You can go and explore the islands. Like if I just start heading off in a direction that I've not been before, I can head over here. And you can see how this fog of war. Oh, that's cool. That's part of a side quest.
A quest that's working right now. Okay.
Yeah, that's part of a side quest. I don't know how she's now back on my crew because she's currently in Nekataka in the world, and I don't know how she's back, but we'll see. She's now magically back on my ship.
So is there like ship-to-ship combat at this point?
Yes. So I can find. I'll see if I can find some random and show you the ship. Because the ship-to-ship combat is actually really cool. It's not like Assassin's Creed or that new one that Ubisoft are putting out, where it's all like, or even like Rebel Galaxy or anything like that, where it's all like maneuvering and broadsides. This, because this is a CRPG, handles ship-to-ship combat entirely through roleplay.
Oh, okay.
It's a really weird system. There's a ship there. I can try and plunder.
So I saw that there's like a daily upkeep.
Yeah. So if I show you the ship management screen.
Oh my god.
So right. So this is basically the layout of your ship, where you have like cannons and crews in different positions that all have different traits that make them better at that skill that they're doing.
The word cannoneer is very good.
Cannoneer.
Like, of course, there's somebody who knows how to work
fire cannons.
So
you've got cannoneers, you've got deckhands, you've got a bosun, you've got a navigator and a cook and a surgeon, but they all, because they're on your crew, they need food and drink and stuff, which is over here. So you've got your food bar and your drink bar, and then you've got the cargo that you can like filter things into. If you want to ask, there's grog. There's some grog right there.
Right. But they also have lager.
Yeah, you have lager, you've got grog, you've got ale, water.
Do they have like a good like craft IPA that you could get?
Yeah, it's handmade by the natives. And each of the crew, depending on their skills, are like require more food or less water or whatever it is. Like their upkeeps are different based on their skills.
Okay.
And every day you'll have to like pay them and then also give them food and water. If any of them are injured, they'll use their medicine. If the ship's damaged, you'll use your repairs. That general sort of idea. You can like, there's a whole bunch of stuff you can do to your ship. There are also multiple classes of ship that you can get.
Of course there are.
Like you can go from this, which is like a small, fast, nimble ship, to like massive galleons if you have the money to afford that.
So like, are the crew members, are they named characters, or are they like randomly generated? Are they?
Oh, hang on. Right, okay. I will show you the ship-to-ship combat in a second. So these ones are all ones that I got as part of the story. These were my crew from the ship previously. If the people at home will hear this, you can't hear this, but there are sea shanties being sung right now. And not just sea shanties that have been written by Obsidian about this world. It's not like...
This is great.
It's not like normal sea shanties, it's sea shanties about places in the Deadfire Archipelago and stuff. Like they name places.
Add that to another checkbox for
crazy,
things that Callum is into.
So I'll show you ship-to-ship combat just by attacking this random person.
Oh wow, like straight dialogue and...
So, ship-to-ship combat looks like this.
What the
Where you have your guys on the left and them on the right. So you have your bosun is like, oh, vessels approaching on the horizon. You can be like, let's close the board. If you want to just skip the combat and try and board them, you can be like, okay, but you're going to take this much damage for free.
Okay.
On second thought, let's just enter combat. So this is how ship-to-ship combat works. Everybody will take a turn. This thing in the middle is like, so it's their turn, then my turn, then their turn, then my turn. So we'll each go about. You've got how much cannon fire you've got, your hull, your sails, and your crew, as compared to theirs. You have, this is the distance away from the ship, and this is the direction that the enemy ship is facing. So they're currently facing towards the right of the horizon on their starboard side. So when you get to it, so they are misjudge the wind direction, the crew executes maneuver, and it comes to a stop. So they're not moving.
Okay.
So then we choose our course of action, where we have all these manner of things.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Okay.
So you can go full speed ahead if you just want to try and charge down on them. You can go half sail. You can turn if you want to. So if I look at the ship right now, you can see that my cannons are facing forward. so I never have to like turn to port or starboard to fire. On this ship. On other ships I've had to do the whole maneuvering thing.
So is the distance after the brackets there how far you're going to move in this
So
turn?
if I go full speed ahead, I'll move 65 meters. You can jib, you can brace for impact if you want. I'm just going to go full speed ahead because they're stopped. They're not going to do anything. They have got their starboard side facing us, so they're probably going to broadside us at some point, but right now it's fine.
What's their kind of range on your cannons?
So if I show you, you can see their ideal range 250 to 350. So I'm just going to keep going until I'm in that range. But yeah, I have been in ships that are more... Oh, they're going to fire on us. Oh, channel guns. Ooh, okay, that's pretty good. I have been in ships where you have to worry about what side you're facing because your best guns are on one side. So it's a lot of like getting into position and then turning to port and firing, and but we're just going to keep moving ahead because
So is that image in the right constantly updating to be what is actually happening?
Yeah. Well, not really. It's no, because they've jibbed, so this is right. Yeah. So they're just like floundering around the sea. According
to the thing at the bottom there, they're pointing left.
Oh yeah, I guess not. So it's just like a representation. This is just like this is how both ship-to-ship combat and like skill checks and some things in the world are handled through this kind of weird book roleplay system.
Okay.
This is a system that was implemented in Tyranny, I think.
Yeah, I remember that.
Was like, it would just present you with some stuff and you just had to pick. It was a choose your own adventure within a choose your own adventure game.
Yeah.
But yeah. So I'm not even going to fire on this ship. I'm going to try and board just to show you what the combat system looks like.
Sure.
So I'm just going to keep barreling down on them.
You're getting real close.
Yep. I need to be like under 100 to board them, I think it is. There we go. Prepare to board. So yeah. They also are really good at just throwing in fluff, because this is a fluff game where it's like rousing your crew, throwing grappling hooks across the board. Yeah, it's all.
Nice. Yeah.
So we're now going to load into the combat version of
the
CRPG.
actual, the normal, what you would expect.
Yes.
Normal combat to be.
This is normal combat, but it is across two ships, so it is in a different sort of environment as opposed to a dungeon or a jungle. This is on two ship decks.
Okay. Are you interested to see what this looks like?
I will show you. This is where I can also talk about how some of the changes they've made to character building in this game, because there's not a lot different, but there's like subtle minor differences that I can show off, which actually make the game really cool, in my opinion. They've gone for the, we've built our own system based off of Dungeons & Dragons, how can we make it better? Okay, let's introduce multi-classing. And multi-classing.
Oh, sure, yeah.
If you've ever played Dungeons & Dragons before, you know how dangerous multi-classing can be.
Yeah.
So, this looks like a CRPG. This is all...
This looks very much like a CRPG.
Yeah, this is all CRPG. This is all choosing people, and but I can show you my character screen. So, bunch of attributes, bunch of skills. Don't worry about it. This is like general stat line, active skills, all that stuff. The main thing you need to worry about is up here. So you have your two classes. So I have built a wizard and a wizard monk. So it's multi-classing both wizard and monk. Each class also has a set of subclasses that you can choose from. So see where it says Hellwalker here? This is a monk subclass that basically says they will take more damage but deal more damage while taking damage. So you've got... It basically means for infinite variability in class builds, which is excellent for a CRPG. When you have so much choice, you can do a whole bunch of different crazy stuff. We also have our fighter paladin, who's our tank, and we have just generic wizard, generic priest, and generic cipher, which are like the mind people. This was the Orlan, by the way, that you saw on the loading screen. This is Seraphan.
Cool.
So, the reason that multi-classing is dangerous is because if you know what you're doing, you can kind of break this game, and that's what I've done by doing this monk wizard. So, if I say to you, I have a monk here that will take a lot of damage, but by taking a lot of damage will deal a lot of damage. Or sorry, well, in the process of fighting will get a lot of damage. What would you say is the problem with that?
Well, wizards are normally quite frail if they're...
Correct, especially when you pair them with a build that is going to take more damage.
Right, yeah.
But, and I'm a monk, so I'm in the fray, like I'm punching people. But, because this is the way that... It's not the way that wizards work. Some of the the subset of wizard classes in this game have a bunch of like spells like this, which are like you basically blur your image and it basically increases your deflect and your reflex saves, and
that
like
makes sense.
this, which is like another mirrored image which increases your deflection save. All you then need to do is just stack a bunch of buffs on yourself, and you basically can't be hit.
You're
It's
untouchable. Right.
unbelievably powerful. Like, it's insane how stupid this guy can get. So I've got it set up. Each character can also have like individual AI scripts that you can write for them. So like if I show you this,
Oh wow!
you can have like as much stuff as you want, as detailed as you want to go into. It's just like, when this happens, do this.
This is very much like that system from Final Fantasy 12.
Yes, the Gambit system. Yeah, very much like that.
Huh.
So I have it set to where at the start of combat, these two will instantly buff themselves, which is going to happen now. Just happened.
Right.
And then at the start of combat, so this person is also set to like just charge in, because she's a tank. She's going to charge in and soak a bunch of hits, which is fine. This guy, however, is now going to cast a whole bunch of buffs on himself, like this one, and then this one. Yep, and then this one. So now, I basically have insane deflection, reflex, and will saves, which means I basically can't be hit. And will deal a shit ton of damage, as you'll see when I hit this person. So we have our priest. She's basically there as a support, so she'll cast a buff spell. Our Cypher is currently on a build where he dual wields pistols.
Nice.
Because they gain their like spell casting resource based on damage, and pistols deal a lot of damage. So that, and their general wizard. I'll just fire a chain lightning at someone. That's fine. You teleported to the wrong place. This is bad. That's actually fine. So here we go. Again, this is a CRPG, so I'm going to unpause now, wait for things to happen, and then pause it again. And then what else have we got here? Let's go for something like this. Give her man a buff. That one on him. This.
So like,
you can move
how
over
much?
here.
Because this is not the first CRPG that you've told me about that lets you have characters that just fucking break the system.
Yeah.
Like, this has always been the case.
Yeah.
Is this just like an accepted thing that this is now part of the game? Where...
Yeah, sort of. This is well, it's different. It's broken in different.
Is this a bug that needs fixed? For
no,
instance?
not at all. Like the reason that I can break this is because I've played these games all my life and I understand how these things work. Normal people, you also totally don't have to break this game. Like, it's perfectly manageable and handleable without breaking it. Like, you can totally just play it normally. I just break it because I played Baldur's Gate 1 and you have to break that game in order to beat it. So it's it just gets instilled in you after a point.
It's not necessarily like it's encouraged. It's just like, I found the thing.
It's just if you find a thing that works, it's going to be very good. Cool. That's all it is. This person's gonna summon a pillar of fire. Why not?
Nice. On a boat, that seems like a bad idea.
It's magic fire. It's fine.
So it does set fire? Okay.
Nah, it's fine. Don't worry about it.
Okay, sure.
So yeah, but ludicrous gibs in this game. It's insane.
Yeah, I was not expecting that for some reason. Okay.
So my guy is currently just like two-shotting everybody. This guy can cast this because that spell's very good. This can get cast as well. Why not? It's fine.
Is this what the normal like land combat is like as well?
Yeah, pretty much, just in different settings. This is
fucking hell. Okay.
Yeah, so when you get to pretty high levels, you can explode motherfuckers pretty readily. So yeah, at the end of ship-to-ship combat, you have this is your booty. This is everything that you've stolen from the ship. So you've got like some cool weapons and stuff. I'm just gonna take all the blue things because they sell for better.
Oh, they're level, right? Got it.
Like blue is like saying that it's better. Yeah, essentially.
Okay.
I'll take all their food because food's all useful to have. I'll take your supplies. So the best thing about this is, your crew have morale, which will give you bonus experience based on how happy they are. If they are lacking and you take over a ship, you can hit this share coins with crew button, and everybody gets really happy because you've got a payday.
Okay.
My crew at 100%, so I'm going to take all the gold for myself.
So I was going to say, so the gold, like your gold and stuff like that is for your character, not for your crew.
No, it's for my character.
Okay.
Yeah. But because I have to pay my crew and stuff like that, they will inevitably have to. Yeah, they will get it eventually.
It's just the equivalent of giving them a bonus, right?
Yeah, essentially, if you're saying like, oh, split this between the crew, you're taking less of it, but improving the morale of your crew.
Yeah, makes sense.
So I currently have a thing where I need to go and into this place because there are bad evil men in here that are illegally trading slaves and
okay, as opposed to legally trading slaves,
well,
or it's because they're trading slaves?
So slavery is illegal in the Deadfire Archipelago for Deadfire natives. So if you're native to the area, then selling slaves is illegal, but you can sell slaves so long as you brought them from somewhere else. Basically, this entire game's basically about colonialism and there's a lot of heavy themes like that. In the entire map, there are like 4 major tribes, which are like the Hoana, who are the natives, the Principe, who are essentially like this self-regulated group of pirate captains who run the piracy in the area. There's the Vintalian Trading Company, who are essentially like the East India Company, who are there to trade with the natives, but basically get the resources and ship it back home. And the Deadfire Company, who are like military, we just want to take over this land sort of people.
Sure.
But all the side stories, a lot of the side stories have focused around how the natives are getting treated like shit, or their ancestry's getting defaced, or people are trying to screw them out of a deal, or like it's basically all about colonialism and how people invade countries and how you adapt the mind of a populace and all that stuff.
So how flexible does the story let you be? Like, could you go all in and go like, yes, colonialism is for me, or
so you can do quests for any of the tribes that you want. Like you can go and work for the Hoana a bunch and fight for their lands. You can go and work for the Principe and just be a crazy pirate captain. I'm currently this is part of a quest line I'm in right now for the pirates, the Principe, and I'm currently playing 2 pirate captains off against each other.
Nice.
In an attempt to kind of cause a weird coup, because the Principe are kind of dicks and I don't like them, so I kind of want the whole thing to crumble in on itself.
Okay, makes sense.
So I've seen this before, so I'm just going to go through it.
It's weird, like it doesn't sound like a traditional CRPG story where there's like, you know very quickly what the, like there's no great evil that you're fighting,
so
and there's no like...
all of the side stories in this game are about like colonialism, the natives and all that stuff. The main proper storyline is very traditional of you have to go and stop this rampaging god.
Oh, okay. Yeah. There is a main story.
Yeah. So that's this whole hunt for Aethys thing is the main storyline. That's you going and finding this reincarnated god who's currently stomping across the Deadfire Archipelago. Because of events from the first game that are very complicated.
I assumed they would be.
Yeah. It's a whole thing. So I'll show you this. This is very similar to the ship-to-ship combat, but this is for like skill checks and environment thing. So I was told that there was a secret way into the fort from the side. I've found that secret way in, so I'm going to go into this cave. Again, so much fluff writing. There's a lot of just like you slosh through the water and it's all...
Do you think this is better than just doing dice rolls for this? Like, would you prefer this over...
Hell yeah, this is like way more interesting because you get more feedback because the writing's so good to tell you when things are happening and what's happening, so it gives you an idea of what's going on instead of just going, you passed, you failed.
But it doesn't seem to surface any of those roles that it's doing.
So,
okay, maybe it does.
Yeah, so that when you come to actually doing skill checks as opposed to just like role playing or whatever, you will have like several options. I think I might actually be able to show you one later on that are like, you have 4 different options of things you can do that are all based on different skills that you have, and that can be things like the usual I'm very good at diplomacy, so I was able to talk down a situation style thing, to I'm a wizard and I need to get through these bars, so I just fucking melt them with fire. It's
there's
a lot of, because of like, if you look at the character screen, you have like not only your race, but like your background and your job from what you did from that background. There are a lot of opportunities for people. So like I'm a godlike, which is, as the name suggests, like you're born with the touch of a god. So a lot of conversations start by someone turning around and going, "What the hell? Why is there a god in here?" But there's also like the Rawatai, which is like the area I'm from, and the people, the kingdom essentially that I'm from, which are the people who are currently trying to take over these islands.
Right.
So if you meet up with a bunch of those people, they treat you like a friend and completely like will talk to you in slang and all that stuff. But everybody else will go, "You're with the Rawatai. I don't know if I can trust you." It's
the same kind of toss-ups you always make when you're making these characters.
Yeah, exactly. But there are like so many options for these things that you could get whatever you wanted. So again,
are those spider eggs? They are spider eggs.
They are spider eggs because there are big spiders here. I forgot to cast my buffs.
Somehow thinking we fight. That's a big fucking spider. Holy shit.
Yeah, there's some big spiders in this game. So what else can I say about this? So
Sorry, what's the crystal eating spider? Okay.
Yes, it's a crystal eating spider, and that's a crystal eating spider queen. So again, the writing in this game is like fantastic. The quest dialogue, great. You do a lot of, based on the like some of the stuff that happened in the first game that I won't talk about. You spend a lot of this game talking to gods. And because gods are all of different pantheons and different specializations, there are a lot of really cool interactions with those people.
Nice.
All of your companions are great so far. They range from like this guy who's just like not the most generic wizard. He's like a wizard who's like a bad wizard hunter. He goes and fights other bad wizards to like...
he's not poor at his job.
No, he's a great wizard, but he goes and fights evil wizards. To like, there's a guy I have on my party who's essentially like, you know the Rocks character from Moana? You know, like the native god sort of thing? Yeah. He's kind of like that, except he only thinks he's a god, so acts like he's a god. He's kind of a dick, but he's the really sort of endearing dick that he's so confident in himself that you just sort of believe it, and you're like, oh sure, yeah, you know what you're doing. Like, that's...
Makes sense.
He's great. He's fantastic.
In terms of the combat, like, it's so like since I don't play a lot of these games, it looks like a lot of the combat is very much like cast a bunch of stuff and then hit people.
Yep.
Like, is there some tactical obviously not as tactical as something like a Divinity, but is there some degree of tactics to this, or is it usually just like I can just roll these dudes?
You're not. Well, I can roll these dudes because these dudes are super weak. But in harder fights, you do have to worry about like I should be able to show you. So if you look when I highlight over an enemy, you'll see that they have... It's actually really good. This is part of the reason that the Pillar series is really good, because they take the CRPG genre, which is normally super complicated, and simplify it, and they simplify it by showing you everything. I just go like, look, here's all the information that you should be able to understand. Oh, this is one of these skill checks I was telling you about. So I have the option here of like, I have a pry bar in my inventory, so I can just pry the bars open if I want, or maybe try and reach the bars, but none of my guys are tall enough, so they can't reach the lever.
What's that symbol in number 4? Oh,
so might. Okay. So this is a skill check. So I've got like 15 might. That doesn't work, obviously, because they're giant iron bars.
So so this is a thing that always gets me for here. Does that fail because there's some random roll, or does that fail because you're not good enough?
No, for skill checks, it's like there's a target number that you have to hit.
Okay.
And 15 does not hit that number. But this is the other thing I was talking about, is like, I have a wizard, so I can just go, fuck your thing, let's just burn it with acid.
Oh wow, that's cool.
Just melts the bars away.
Has there been stuff in there where it feels like you have the tools to do the job and it's still not giving you the option? Has that really happened yet, or is it usually pretty good at like...
What do you mean?
Like, well, like for that lockpick that you just did there, like...
Yeah.
I mean, you have a wizard who can cast fireballs, so can he blow the door off the...
Oh, right. No, so you can't, like, destroy containers or whatever.
Right.
If you want to unlock it, you either need the key or someone who can pick locks.
But for the skill stuff, like, does it feel like it gives you all of the options that make sense?
Oh, yeah, like, in the, like, role-playing skill book section, then, yeah, you get the options that you think would make sense at that point. You
haven't had a thing that's gone like, well, after this skill that does this, which would be ideal for this situation.
No,
it's not
like,
do it.
If you think about it in the sense of like, oh, I have this locked chest, why can I not just fireball it? And it's like, well, because the thing inside it would be destroyed if you fireballed it.
Sure.
Like it's,
but more
options are given,
like the door.
Yeah, you're given the options that you think make sense.
Okay, cool.
I've never seen one that I've gone like, that's a bit weird. That's
a lot of writing.
Yeah, there's a hell of a lot of writing in this game. So I can show you, I think there's a person around this corner.
Ready to brawl?
Yeah.
Obviously I can't hear this, but how's the voice acting? Is there voice acting?
Yeah, everything is fully voice acted in this game.
Oh wow.
And it's real good. Like they've got a lot of prolific voice actors, and writing's great, and the voice actors are good, so you can't really ask for much better.
Cool.
So see, if I highlight this guy, you see above it. So you have the 58%, which is based on his deflection defense, which is basically you saying, I have a 58% chance to hit this person at any given moment. You then have the 5 and the shield beside it, which is like your penetration, which is you trying to get through their armor essentially. Because their armor is, what's their armor, 7? But it's 7 bludgeon. Okay, sure. So he's got 5. If you look on the left there, you can see the armor 7. The little hammer is for bludgeoning damage, which is like my fists are bludgeoning damage. I have 5 penetration, he has 5 armor, so all my attacks will go through as if he was not wearing armor, essentially.
Got you.
But if I look, this person has a slashing weapon. They will deal 100% damage because he doesn't have slashing resistance, so it's going to happen regardless.
Where are you getting the stuff about your equipment?
So see at the top, see that little bracket beside the penetration that's like 100%, and then the scimitar. So scimitar's slashing, hammer's bludgeoning, there's a spear that's like piercing, and then there's like elemental types as well.
So did you just get this information about enemies for just everything by default? Like that's not
so
like
no,
a skill
this was part of what made Pillars so good. Was there is this bestiary here. In Pillars 1, this was a thing as well where
oh my god,
you only learn this stuff as you fight things. So if you go into an encounter that you've never met before, you've got no idea about the resistances or anything. But the more you fight them, the more you learn about them, and then the more the game will feed back into you what you should be doing.
Is that just like, because it looked like in that bestiary it was very race based? So like, if you fought a human once, do you know that human, is it specifically that human you know about, or is it all humans?
It would be, well, for humans are slightly different because humans are universal. Like, humans are a, like, stock race. Like, all the player races, essentially, you're going to know all about anyway because you see them all the time. It's only for, like, special things like the sea troll that you've never seen before that you're going to learn more about as you fight.
But you can immediately see, like, what their armor is and all this kind of stuff?
Well, not immediately, but, like, after you've fought them a couple of times, you'll get...
Right.
Again, just gonna go through, do my thing of buffing people, and yeah, you're gonna do that. You can do this because that's pretty funny. You can do this on this guy.
What's the spinning thing with the 3 in it?
This is a new thing. This is empowerment. So once per encounter, you can spend one of your empower points to either like make one of your spells super good, like jump their what's called power level up by like 5 or 10 or something. I can't remember.
Oh wow, okay.
Or you can use it to basically get a bunch of your character resource for whatever the class is back. So like wizards will get more spells, monks will get their wounds back, all that stuff. It's just a way of mitigating long encounters, essentially. So I've had like really long fights in this game that took forever. And not having that in power would basically mean it would get to a point where everybody's just wailing on each other with weapons and not doing the cool things that they like to do.
Got you.
So yeah, this guy. So right now, if you look here, you'll see these arrows. So you've got this green arrow and this red arrow. That's showing engagement. So if I say this person's engaged with this person, which is basically them saying they're focused on that person. This person's also going to engage with her because she has abilities that make her more threatening, essentially. What this means is that this person, my little monk dude, can run over here and then... Oh, well, they broke engagement. But this is where the tactics comes into play, is when people are engaged, you can then, like, flank them, which means that you get bonuses to hit, bonuses on damage and stuff.
That's cool.
This person has finished casting. You can do that thing. Okay, so my little Orland dude is currently casting a mind spell that basically dominates someone's mind. So I'm basically going to own this person for the fight if it works.
Right.
Ah, it didn't work. Shit. Well, let's just punch him instead. Oh, there we go. My wizard cast his giant tentacle move.
Nice.
These two can go there, and these two can go there. This is why I like these games, is because you just sit and do shit like this the entire time.
Sure.
That guy's dead. Again, you'll notice I just one-shot that person with my monk. Because I have built something rather silly.
Is it still fun, even though you've built?
Oh yeah, it's hilarious. Like, there is no better feeling on earth than watching a CRPG build work as intended. Like,
got you. Because
it's hilarious when, like, I just thought, like, on character creation, I was like, oh, Wizard and Monk's probably really good because you can just mitigate a bunch of damage, and then it worked exactly as I thought, and I'm like, I'm a fucking genius. This is the best thing I've ever seen.
Nice.
And yeah, it's so good. That guy's gonna do that, and then cast this thing, and then you're gonna do that.
What is that?
That is an ogre. So this is another thing that the game will tell you is, see the skulls and sword above the name? That's basically like them saying, this might be a bit difficult for you. So you've got like one skull which might be a bit hard, two skulls which is pretty hard, three skulls which is insane, and then red sword, red skulls which is do not fight this.
Okay.
So they're giving you an idea of like balance.
Got you.
But they also do, at the point at which you start the game, they give you the option of whether or not you want level scaling. So you can have it so that the game will scale to your level regardless of the environment. If you want to basically just run through the game to experience the story. But that's not the point of these games in my eyes, so I turned all that off. But so you've got your defenses on, so you can do that thing. You can do.
So the scaling means that they will always be like relevant to your level.
Yeah, they will always be relevant, like on par with your levels. You'll never find an enemy that's too difficult for you, essentially.
Huh. Okay.
Which is a cool, neat addition for people that want it.
So like if you just want to fuck around,
yeah. If you want to do dumb shit and you want to like see what the game has to offer without worrying about making the right build and all that stuff, then that's totally for you.
It would maybe reduce the time, because I remember you saying a couple of times that like these are the type of games you have to restart a couple of times when you realise you've made a build that's terrible.
Yeah, so my friend who's currently playing this game has only started like playing the game for real recently because he's restarted the game 6 times.
Right, okay.
Mainly because he's a bit of an idiot. Not idiot, but like he's really indecisive. And is like, oh, this sounds cool, and he tries it for half an hour, and is like, nah, I want to try something else, and then goes, no, I want to try this, I want to try that, and can't pick a build, essentially.
So I'm assuming this doesn't have the, like, lets you respec points or anything like that in
totally
there? Like,
does. 100% does, yeah.
Okay.
So you can't pick a new class or race or anything like that, but you can respec points whenever you want, which is...
For free, or...?
For a small amount of gold. Like, this is one of the things in this game that other people need to learn from, which is, in a game like this, let people respec whatever the fuck they want. Games still do not do that in 2018, and every game should do that. If you have a thing where people are doing character builds, let them respec, because people will waste points, people will do weird dumb shit and realise it's a mistake. There we go, took the ogre down. So yeah, that's basically all I have to show you from Pillars. Is there anything else that you can think about that you want to see, or...?
No, I kind of knew what this was going into, but I'm glad to see it's a good evolution of these things.
Yes, so this is an evolution of a game that was... I described it to someone earlier in the week as, like, Pillars was very much looking at CRPGs and saying, what can we do to refine this? Sure. And then for 2, they've refined it even more and added cool things on top of it.
They haven't refined the cursor though. The cursor is the same as it's
no. This is the same. That little hashed circle with the wedges cut out of it is the same cursor that it's been since Baldur's Gate.
Which is a good touch.
Yeah,
of course.
But yeah, that's Pillars of Eternity 2. It's fucking awesome, and I'm gonna keep playing it.
PC only right now.
PC only right now, but the other ones came out for console, so who knows what happens in the future? We'll see. Thanks, Ian.
Thanks, Cal.